The Life, Love, and Leadership podcast is a presentation of Marissa Q. Payne International, Dr. James Payne Speaks, and the Foundation for Successful Marriages with Rare Gem Productions. Learn more at successfulmarriages.org. And here are your hosts, the Doctor and the Mrs. Marissa Q. Payne and Dr. James Payne.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Hey, welcome back to Life, Love, and Leadership with Dr. James and Marissa Q. Payne. I'm Marissa Q. Payne.
And I'm Dr. James Payne. And we are super excited to have you back for another thrilling episode of Life, Love, and Leadership.
Yes, I am like coming in singing this week.
There's always some singing going on in this house.
I know, it's holiday time. Oh, that's probably where the kids get it, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't think about it much, but I definitely grew up in a music house and love music. I don't sing as much as my kids do, but I definitely sing quite a bit. You do as well?
I do. I love the classics, and so I will belt out a good James Cleveland every now and again. People don't like it in my house, but they got to learn to live with it.
So let's talk about what a classic is for starters.
Okay.
Like you said, I belt out the classics, and then you said James Cleveland.
Yes, that's classic gospel music right there. You don't think James Cleveland is a classic?
Well, you didn't specify gospel for starters.
Okay.
You said the classics.
So in that genre of music, James Cleveland is a classical artist in my estimation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We wouldn't, well, no disrespect to James. We appreciate his contributions, but
Yes.
It is typically pretty depressing music.
Got it.
And the fact that you consider it a classic tells us everything we need to know about your taste in music.
Wow.
But we don't hold it against you.
Wow.
We love you still.
Okay. I appreciate that. I'm glad you love me still.
So if this is your first time listening, where have you been all season? We are wrapping up. Like, it is holiday time, and this is what, the one of two?
Yes.
Yeah, we're
Yes.
one of two of, and we will be wrapping up our first season. We're super, super excited about what's in store for season 2.
Absolutely.
We'll be on a break for a little bit, but super excited to come back bigger and better, taking the feedback and inviting some guests into the studio with us. So stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, get your notebook out because you definitely need it. In between all the laughing on this podcast, we drop real tips, tools, resources you can use in life, love, and leadership. Grab a pen, hit the subscribe or follow button so you don't miss a single tidbit. Baby, what are we talking about today?
So today we're going to be talking about how to heal after the loss of a relationship.
Oh.
And so this is definitely something you want to stick around for. You don't want to get stuck in that place after a relationship ends. So really having a plan and a strategy for how to move your life forward is important.
That's good.
Yeah. Yes.
Like recovering from a breakup or
Yep.
separation, divorce. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I like that.
All the above. These tools and tips will help you across that gamut.
You know what? That's actually really interesting because I was researching divorce statistics, and I think that there are some myths out there about divorce. You know, everybody knows or has heard, divorce is on the rise and the statistics are so high. And I think it creates this gloomy outlook about marriage, that it gives marriage a bad rep, and we don't deserve it, you know? So yes, overall, the divorce rate is about 50%. But when you really start digging into it, first marriages is actually about 40%. So that means actually the odds are in your favor. And those odds can actually increase depending on how old you are, right? What your income level is, just how wise you come into it. Which
how
is,
ready you are.
Yeah, exactly. How ready you are. So it's really not true that all marriages fail or that sort of thing. So that's one thing. And then second marriages, I think, is 70% failure rate, and third marriages is an 80% failure rate.
Wow.
So that's where the 50% average comes from. But, all divorces are not created equal.
Sure.
And, we're really passionate about preventing needless divorce, like we say. And that's really the kind that, you just let things fester. The communication is bad, not necessarily the major stuff where there's egregious, stuff, but when it really doesn't have to necessarily be that way, that you can increase your skill and, change your heart and actually can hang in there. So, I think having the conversation about, how to recover from the loss of a relationship is a really good one.
Yeah, I agree. And looking forward to getting into that, because when I hear you talk about needless divorce, the first thing that just pops in my mind is, maintaining your relationship. So just doing the things that you would naturally do in life to maintain anything you care about, taking those steps to maintain your relationship. So that helps to prevent that needless divorce. But before we get into that, I always like to know what's going on in that curly head of yours. What's on your mind this week, sweetheart?
Listen, you know what? I had a topic, and then when you said curly head, that made me think about my hair. So our audience, I'm sorry, you're just going to have to forgive me, but you will probably hear about this vow renewal, pretty much until the event happens during our 25th anniversary. And so at the moment, I am trying to grow this curly head so that I can have more options for my look during the vow renewal.
All right. I wish I had that option.
You do.
Like what?
Have you seen the hair replacement and or the hair extension, men's hair extension options?
I can't go there.
That are available.
I can't go there.
Why not?
Because it's not mine.
Okay, it is. If you pay for it, it's yours.
Yeah, I just can't do it. I can't do that.
They are really doing some amazing stuff. I have seen. You need to Instagram some of these videos. You might change your mind.
Wait, I thought you said you liked me.
I was just about to say it because I know you. I literally knew that was coming, but I love your hair.
You got way too excited about that.
I love it, but I'm just saying, it's pretty cool to, they spray the stuff and put the paper on the head and then pull hair from back here, and it's pretty cool, pretty spectacular. But so turns out you're not that sad about your look after all, because you don't want to try to make new hair.
Yeah, I don't want to try to make artificial anything. If it's not mine, then I'm good. I'll make this bald head work.
So anyway, I am growing my hair. It's a struggle because I don't really like a lot of hair. And as soon as it gets to a certain stage, I'm used to cutting it. I don't like it, being longer than my ear or at my ear. So we're struggling, but we're gonna, give it a shot, which is funny because you like my hair like it is as well, right?
Yes, I do. Absolutely.
So maybe I don't need to even go through all that.
You don't need to do any of that. Your hair is perfect just the way it is.
But I have a vision for what I want.
Okay.
So
that's what matters.
But that isn't actually what I wanted to talk about. But when you said curly head, that is what came to my mind at the moment, which is the danger of asking what's on Marissa's mind, because you just never know.
Just never know. Never know.
The other thing that has been on my mind, I was reading a recent New York Times article that could I be my own soulmate? Okay. Could I be my own soulmate?
Tell me about that.
Yeah, so Lizzo, the artist, has a song out, Soulmate, and she actually was, I think she was quoted in the article. Sometimes I get confused with where, my sources are coming from, but there's this concept of being self-partnered. I'm a partner, me, myself, and I, that's all I got in the end, right? I can depend on me, I'm self-partnered. And that's a lot easier, and some are saying healthier when you are putting less stock in, the ring and, having a relationship, an intimate partner, having a marriage that you get satisfied and happy with yourself. So it's kind of like a two-part discussion, I think. I think the first question is about this soulmate concept, and then the second part is about being self-partnered. So do you believe in soulmates?
Do I believe in soulmates? Great question. Yeah, I believe in soulmates. I think you, absolutely.
So what does it mean to you?
Soulmates to me means somebody who is named Marissa Q. Payne, who is just like the female version of me. And we have this great connection, this great friendship. We connect on a soul level. And so it's not just physical, it's not just emotional, but there are depths that are greater than that. And so we connect at a soul level, like when we are not in the same space for elongated periods of time, my soul can hurt because I'm missing you. So that's what I think about when I think about soulmates.
Got you. It's interesting because I was thinking about, you were sharing another couple that we admire. You saw them walking and you were like saying how sweet it was to see them.
Yes.
That you kind of consider them, I think you can think about couples that stand out and that seem to be like just made for each other.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But then there are also couples that don't necessarily seem that way. So how do you know if somebody is your soulmate?
How do you know somebody is your soulmate? Well, I think there's no formula, if you will. It's an awareness. It's like I tell people when I'm shopping for something or I'm looking for something, and they ask me, can I help you? And I'm like, I'm browsing for this, and I will kind of know it when I see it.
Yeah.
I will know it when I experience it. And so I think it's really the same with soulmates.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you think you should only marry your soulmate if you have that kind of connection?
Should you only marry your soulmate?
Yeah, like, are you looking for your soulmate? And should you not marry unless, you have that, they had me at hello kind of moment?
Well, I think you can answer that a couple different ways. Here's my response. There are over 5-6 billion people on the planet.
Right.
And I do think that you can have, successful relationship with people. But I think finding somebody that you connect with on a soul level, I think you should hold out until that's true.
So what if it doesn't happen?
Well, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen.
So then you settle for the regular relationship. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. And I would kind of flip it back to you because, so in my estimation, I say you don't settle. But what do you think?
See, this is actually really interesting, and this is fairly impromptu for us. So I don't think every relationship, every marriage is a soulmate marriage.
Definitely not.
And I'm not sure every marriage can be. Or if that's a bad thing, So there's the statistics out there that are saying, just in terms of population, and it's not enough. 'Cause like, in order for you to be able to quote unquote find your soulmate, like there's some assumptions embedded in that, the stars have to line up where they're in your city, in your neighborhood, or at the event that, like, you have to be able to meet them. And that's really limiting in a global world. Like, I think that, if the possibilities are endless, yes, there is definitely someone that you can connect to at a soul level. But are you going to actually be able to meet them in your lifetime? I don't know.
Well, I also think it doesn't necessarily, and this may be where we diverge, but I don't necessarily think it has to be a single person. I actually think that you
can connect to multiple people.
At
that level.
You can develop a soulmate relationship with other people. So I don't necessarily think it has to be
Wait, what do you mean you can?
So you can develop. So I think a soulmate relationship is one that develops over time. So I wouldn't say when you and I first started courting and dating and whatnot that we would have audibled that we were soulmates. It was something that through the expanse of time, we grew to love and care and respect and want each other and think about each other at a soul level.
Yeah, I mean, no, at 13, 14, was it like, oh, I just found my soulmate? No. However, I do think that's what happened. We were just too young to appreciate it. I think that the way we are wired and our common interest and like all the stuff that like brought us together, and more importantly, the stuff that has kept us together is what made us soulmates. And I don't think, well, I know, right? Because we did our best to tear it up and it wouldn't. And I think that's a blessing. I don't think everybody gets that. Like our purpose was connected, or we were created to be connected to each other. I do believe that.
Sure.
And I don't know. It's deep. We gonna have to. I guess we need to continue this conversation.
We'll have to come back to that conversation for sure.
We're supposed to be wise, but we definitely. I don't have an answer on that.
Listen, ever learning.
So then the second part of it is, can you be your own soulmate, or like, what do you think about this? Now, I will say that survey shows that 2/3 of Americans, at least, believe in a soulmate. But I just think about, people that are looking, right, for a relationship, looking for the person they're equal, someone that they connect with on a soul level, and just haven't found it necessarily yet. Or people that never find it. It's plenty of people that come and desire it, but it just doesn't happen. So, like, what does that mean in terms of their ability to connect and have a happy, healthy relationship? Like, is it settling if you find someone that you can be happy with and build a life with, but, you don't necessarily, like, you're different and not necessarily at that soul level, but, it's still a great relationship. I think that's probably okay.
Wait, so I thought the question was around, can you be your own soulmate?
Oh, I keep skipping. You got to keep up.
You can switch the question already?
Yeah. I got thrown off because I was saying how 2/3 of Americans believe in the soulmate. But yeah, so then that is the question. I think because people have not necessarily found it, now people are taking less weight off of the need to find it and saying, I'm going to be my own soulmate. I'm partnered with myself, which is pretty empowering as well. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's good to have good self-esteem, self-awareness, self-concept, and to feel good about yourself. This is a new term to me that you can be your own soulmate. So I'm still kind of processing through that without having the actual definition in front of me. I would say you probably can be your own soulmate, just kind of based on how you described it.
Sometimes you just surprise me. Because I think that, and that's part of our model for building a love that lasts, right? Like, this need to have a relationship to complete you is not good.
Well, the only thing about that, as I kind of think through my response, is...
you backtracking?
I'm processing. So the idea of soulmates really talks about connecting, one to another. So there being a connectivity of two souls. I think I am going to back all the way out of my statement.
Oh my gosh.
And say, I think if you, you feel good about yourself, high self-esteem, all that good stuff, it's wonderful. But I don't necessarily know that you can be your own soulmate because I can't get my mind to take that out of that duality context where you need multiple souls to be made.
I got you.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah. And like I said, the intimate partner component is just one aspect, right? Mm-hmm. Like you have family, social life, personal wellness, volunteer work, just kind of creativity and recreational outlets, plus, romantic involvement. And I think the essence of what they're talking about is honoring that holistic nature of who we are as human beings, and not like overweighting the intimate partner piece more than all the other pieces that are possible in this human experience.
I got you.
Which I think is pretty cool.
No, absolutely.
So that is what's on my mind this week.
All right.
Okay, so before we skip to the fight of the week, of course, we have been sharing questions from the intimacy deck as a tool, an opportunity to spark stimulating conversation in your relationship. So I have 3 new questions this week. First question, Dr. Payne, what did you learn about marriage from your parents?
I think what I learned from my parents about marriage is really just self-expression. They were very expressive people. They wanted you to know how they felt, especially my dad,
yes,
about you all the time. And so I find myself picking up that trait and just expressing myself to my family quite a bit because it's just ingrained in me.
I know your dad, hey, baby, how you doing? Did I tell you I love you? And it was like, we weren't big I love you people. So it was like,
yeah.
No, you didn't. Then I have to say it back. It was weird, but, appreciative. I feel that.
So that sense of expression is definitely what comes to mind for me. What'd you learn?
What did I learn from my grandparents? I don't remember anything like necessarily explicit. I think this is the thing about how we learn. We always say, do as I say, not as I do. But of course, children learn by what you do, not what you say. So I'm thinking more about what I saw in them to learn about marriage. And, what I saw was a loving husband who, opened doors, and a loving wife who cooked and cared for her husband. Is a pretty traditional model, I would say. I did not see them fight a lot, hardly ever. I didn't know how, that's why I say, like, we never really talked about marriage, and I don't know how they worked stuff out or decided stuff. Like in our house, there's a family calendar, and we have, family mealtime and family meetings. Like, we didn't do any of that.
Sure.
It was more subtle. So you just kind of learned by observing. But, I had a great childhood. So, and I wound up with a guy similar to my grandfather. So
that's very cool.
Okay, last question. If our relationship ended tomorrow, and of course that would only be by death because that's the only way our relationship would end, what 3 things would you miss the most?
Wow. If our relationship ended tomorrow, what 3 things would I miss the most? So first and foremost would be your presence. Being with you means everything to me. You're like the highlight of my day every day. And so your presence is important. I think your spirit in terms of you are someone I think who adds life to me. I have a tendency, I have been, should I say, when we first got together, I think I was probably more of a dry person, if you will, than you. And I refer to you as a wild liberal. And so I refer to myself as a conservative personality.
You've gotten more extroverted over the years, for sure.
I have. And part of that is just, letting you influence me. So I think your presence, your spirit, and then just the ability to see that beautiful smile.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah. What would you miss about me?
Oh, my goodness. I would miss you. I would miss snuggling for sure. I don't even know how I would get on without the ability to snuggle. Yeah, definitely would miss, laying up against your chest and snuggling. I would miss your goofiness. Who is going to make me laugh? I would miss the laughing. We have so much fun together.
Yes, we do.
And the third thing I would miss, oh my God, who is going to drive me around? I would have to hire a driver with the insurance money.
That is hilarious. That is hilarious. Accurate, but hilarious. Wow.
I'm terrible. I'm sorry, but that's what came to my mind.
Wow.
I love you.
You sure?
Yeah.
I love you too.
All right, let's move on to the fight of the week. So this is really easy. So we had a conversation about date night. And I told you that I would like for you to plan a date, like to be more proactive in planning. So when we go on our trips and things like that, usually I'm the planner. I plan the itinerary. I look up the restaurants. I look up the venues and entertainment options and stuff like that. And I was just like, it would be nice to be able to just show up and do, once in a while. So I told you I wanted you to plan. Mm-hmm. And so you heard me, which I appreciate. And you have been doing a really nice job of planning some dates for us, which is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And so we were talking about it, and we went to a gala for your fraternity recently, and you wanted credit for that as one of your planned dates. And I disagreed. I was like, that wasn't a date. That was something I don't know, that doesn't count because you didn't have to plan. Like, we were going to go to that anyway throughout the ordinary course of life.
Yeah. So you have to take the initiative to make it happen.
Yes.
And so that's the planning component that should qualify to your litmus test of, planning a date.
Maybe it's because it was your fraternity that makes it feel like not a date as much, because it's like regular calendar of events.
But to what you said earlier, you were like, you were going to go anyway. Well, I'm going to eat every day anyway, too. But I still found a way to make it special. So I think it's a date.
It was a date. There was some debate about it, but I'm going to give it to you. Both activities are a date, and you planned them both, so thank you.
So for today's topic, we're going to be dealing with how to heal after the loss of a relationship. And really, this is heavy lifting because when you truly put yourself out there in a relationship and you invest the time and energy and trust into trying to build something with someone, and that thing doesn't work out, that can cause a lot of pain, trauma, and anxiety. And I know you hate this phrase, but it can cause you to sometimes feel away.
Well, you can lose yourself. You can lose your footing. You can lose your sense of self. If you over-identify with the relationship, if you don't take the time to, really grieve it and heal from it, recover
Yeah.
from it, it can be kind of bad. So I definitely think it's worth talking about.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So today we want to deal with two things that we want you to resist or avoid when you're dealing with the loss of a relationship, and two things we want you to embrace, pursue, and to do when you are dealing with the loss of a relationship. So the first thing that comes to mind, we want you to resist or avoid this, and it's avoid isolating yourself from your support systems, the people who care about you and genuinely want to help you recover. I know often when life collapses around us, our instinct is to go internal and try to protect ourselves. But in doing so, we sometimes, shut out the very people who love and care about us as we do this, who want to be there for us. So,
oh my gosh, that's so true, especially if, well, not necessarily especially if, but I think an example of that is like if there's been some, if your friends didn't really support the relationship in the first place, you don't want to give them the satisfaction, or if you made some choices that you felt like were right for you and it didn't work out, it's kind of hard to go back and tuck your tail between your legs or what have you with the people that love you. But when the people love you, generally speaking, they're not going to do the whole I told you so thing.
Yeah.
Some of them might, but I think bottom line is relationships are fluid, so if it didn't work, it didn't work. Like there's nothing to be ashamed of per se. If you made some mistakes, one of my favorite phrases from John Maxwell, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn.
Yes.
If you learn from it, then fantastic. So I like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one of the key takeaways, even from scripture for me on this, is the Bible talks about it's not good for man and mankind to be alone. Like people need people. And so it's important not to isolate yourself and, shut down from people who are in your support system who really want to be there to help you get through.
I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. The second thing that you really want to resist when you're going through this process is to resist the urge to replace your pain with a person.
Ooh.
Which is huge, I once heard a lady express this sentiment, and I thought it was the craziest thing I ever heard. She said, the best way to get over a man is to get
under another one.
You've heard that same unwise counsel. But rebound relationships don't work because, really they're rooted and grounded in selfishness. It's all about, what I need to get over where I am. It's not rooted in anything authentic, so they can't work.
Well, selfishness or hurt or pain, any of those heightened emotions is not a good time to make good decisions.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And it's one thing to spend time with someone, you want the company or what have you, but trying to, go right into a serious relationship from a serious relationship, definitely a red flag, not necessarily a good idea.
Yeah, those relationships can be disingenuous, and we all know that hurt people have a tendency to hurt people. I think about it, it's like, someone who's abusing alcohol or something to try to anesthetize some pain. But in this case, you're using another person. Yeah,
I think we talked about this a little bit in our episode, Are You Really Ready to Love? But I think that you have, you need to be at a place where you can see your ex and not want to, take an axe. Yeah. Not want to harm them, not cry. If you can be cordial with them and wish them well, you're ready to move on.
Wow.
If you are still carrying unforgiveness, if you're still hurt, if you're still emotionally impacted by the separation or the breakup, you're not ready to go into another relationship. You are definitely going to be bringing baggage with you.
Yeah. So that's enough of the stuff not to do. Okay. So the next one is something you definitely want to do. We encourage you to do. And that's to regain custody of yourself. And that's to accept the current reality and take responsibility for any learning or any lessons that you need to take away from the breakup, and really just kind of regaining your sense of self and your identity aside from who you were in the relationship.
Custody, I think, of like taking back possession of yourself. So are you saying that you lose yourself in the relationship?
Well, I definitely think when you are invested in another person, you don't necessarily have to lose yourself per se, but I definitely think there is some measure of spread, like you spread yourself differently when you're in relationship than you are when you are a single entity not in relationship. And so it's just a matter of kind of regaining that custody, that full custody of yourself.
Full custody. That's interesting. I love that.
And then the last leg of that stool for something that you should definitely do is practice forgiveness. And that is learning to forgive yourself for any mistakes you may have made along the journey, forgiving your partner. You don't want to be holding bitterness and grudges because you can't go forward if you're holding somebody else hostage in your past. Forgive God. You're angry at God about something, but to forgive anyone you may be holding ill will against because your relationship didn't work out.
You know, that's interesting. I was just talking with somebody about this, and I don't know if we've talked about this, how to forgive. But they asked me that question. It was just like, I was just like, well, it sounds like you haven't forgiven him yet. And she said, I don't know how, and so really thinking about it's one thing to say it. It's another thing to actually do it, because it doesn't happen overnight. And, you can say, I forgive you, but do you really, right? And then if they don't ask for it, that's where it's really like someone did you wrong.
Wow.
And they don't necessarily see that they did you wrong, or they don't care is the hardest, part. So it's like, how do you forgive somebody that did you dirty? Fool me once, fool you on you, fool me twice, fool you on me.
Yeah.
But when you carry it, you're walking around, I call it walking around with extra backpacks.
Yeah.
And so, you get on the plane, you can't carry that much weight. Like,
Right.
You gotta let it go.
Wow.
So, I was just like, one of the ways I know that's helpful is to pray for them, to wish them well.
Wow. Can you say just a little bit more about wishing someone well and praying? Because that is heavy lifting. I'm sitting there thinking about, someone that I may have like major aught against.
Yeah.
And the natural me is like, wow, there's no way I want things to go well for you. I can't stand you. I want a plane to fall out of the sky on you.
You know what? And honestly, it's my go-to. Like, when someone really does me harm, I pray for them almost immediately.
Wow.
Because I don't want that on me, and I know if I let it linger too long, then I'm going to get mixed into my emotions, get angry about it, fester, get entitled, my ego's going to set in, all stuff I don't want.
Wow.
And I don't need no extra backpacks.
Wow.
So I, as quickly as I can, I tend to pray for them, that things would go well for them. I pray for me as well. God, help me not to let this blind me. Don't let this hinder me. Keep me open, and bless them.
Wow.
And let no harm come to them.
Wow.
I believe firmly in the law of sowing and reaping.
Yeah.
So I try really hard not to do people the way they do me.
Wow.
So,
wow.
yeah.
And that's something you really embody and believe in your spirit. Like when you're, I'm imagining if you're praying for somebody, you are at a point where you're really releasing whatever the offense was you may have experienced, for the prayer to be genuine and it not just to be words.
Yeah. And in some ways, like I said, it's not about them. It's for me, and I know that just as much as I'm doing it for someone else, somebody has to do it for me.
Yeah.
I am not perfect. I am not near perfect,
Sure.
right? And I make mistakes. I say things, Lord knows.
You the reason God made grace?
I'm the reason that God made grace. And so I'm praying for them, but I'm also praying, for me.
Yeah.
I want him to bless me.
Sure.
I want him to favor me.
Yeah.
And I cannot have that if I'm wishing ill will on somebody else. It just doesn't serve me. So I always say that, the first step in forgiveness is to pray for them.
Wow. That is major. So definitely 2 things to resist or avoid, and 2 things to practice and to do. Again, avoid isolating yourself from your support systems. Resist the urge to replace your pain with the person. And then to do these 2 things, regain custody of yourself.
Yes.
And lastly, as my wife so eloquently put together, learn to practice forgiveness.
Practice forgiveness. And I think that's a key word, that it's a practice.
Yeah.
Which means, it's not done overnight, but if you practice makes better. I don't say practice makes perfect. I say practice makes better.
Yeah.
But and you'll be blessed as a result of it.
Yeah.
And before you know it, like I said, you'll be able to look at them and it not bother you anymore.
Wow.
And then you're ready.
No, I really like that. Practice makes better, and better builds acumen. And before you know it, you have a new skill.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, folks. So on that note, we are going to call this an episode. Thank you so much for listening. We have one more show in season 1 and then a few little surprises for you. So you'll definitely want to stay tuned for that. Please share this with someone that you know that needs to hear it. And as always, we look forward to hearing your feedback in social spaces. If you've got a question or a topic suggestion, you can send that to us at successfulmarriages.org. Thanks so much.
This is Life, Love, and Leadership. The Life, Love, and Leadership podcast is a presentation of Marissa Q. Payne International, Dr. James Payne Speaks, and the Foundation for Successful Marriages. Connect with us. Find us and follow on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. To learn more about our guests, show notes, services, events, or to get involved, visit successfulmarriages.org. Life, Love, and Leadership is another positive production of Rare Gem Productions. Thanks for listening.